Let's do a lab assignment, problem number 1 from section 6.1. It says to sketch the region enclosed by the given curves, decide whether to integrate with respect to x or y, draw a typical approximating rectangle, and find the area. Area of the region that's going to be bounded by x is equal to 2 minus 2y squared, and x is equal to 2y squared minus 2. So these two look like they're parabolas that are sideways. One parabola is opening up to the left side, and then the other one looks like it's opening up to the right side. So these are sideways parabolas, which means the best way to probably graph them or to integrate them is with respect to x. So I would probably, in terms of our choices here, I would eliminate the first choice and the last choice. It's a sideways parabola, so it looks like it's going to be the second choice or the third choice. Let's look at some key points here. It looks like this parabola goes to 2 and this parabola goes to 1. So let's see if we can find the vertex, or we can find the x-intercept. So we can find the x-intercept by letting y equal to 0. If we let y equal to 0 here, this whole thing is going to be 0, and this is going to leave us with 2. And here, for the second one, if we let y equal to 0, this is 0, and then we're going to have x is equal to negative 2. So I think this is going to be the correct answer. And the typical strip would be a strip along the y. This is a strip moving along the y, and so I think this is the correct response. I also would like to encourage you to graph it. So let's take a look at the functions again, and let's take a minute or so doing a quick graph in Desmos. And fortunately, these things graph implicit functions as well, or things that might not look like function of x, y is equal to function of x, but any relationship. So here's the first one, and then the second one would be similar. X is equal to, this is 2y squared minus 2. And so here are the two graphs. And we can see the intersection here at 0, 1, and 0, negative 1. That's going to give a y value of negative 1 and positive 1. We can see that here in the choice picture that we selected also. Okay? All right. And so we'll find the area by integrating with respect to y. The integrand is obtained by taking the right-hand side function minus the left-hand side function. So if you tilt your head to the right, you'll see that the upper function will be the right-hand side function. That's the greater function. And the greater function here, if we look at this area, is going to be this area, this graph over here, which is the red graph. And so the first function is going to be 2 minus 2y squared. So that's the first function. And the second function would be the other one. So that's going to be 2y squared minus 2. This is what's going to go in the integrand. And we'll deal with that and simplify that. But first, we figure out the limits of the integral of the y values where they intersect. So it was clear here that it goes from negative 1 to 1. We verified it with our graph in Desmos from negative 1 to 1. So our y1 is going to be negative 1, or y2 is going to be positive 1. So now that we have the limits, we have the integrand, we're just going to go ahead and integrate. Looks like they want a simplified version of this. So we have minus, so minus 2y squared minus 2y squared is going to be minus 4y squared. And then we have a 2 here minus negative 2, so 2 plus 2 is 4. suppose we could have written that the other way, but it's there. And then now we integrate this. The antiderivative of this is going to be 4y minus, and then we have 4, and then y to the, we have to add 1 to the power, so y to the third, but we also have to divide by that same power. So this is what we have. We put 1 in there and negative 1. So if we put 1, we're going to get 4, and 4 minus 4 thirds. Let's should be easy, right? So we have 4 minus 4 thirds, and that's 12 8 thirds. So this would be 8 thirds for when we put 1 in there, and we're going to put negative 1, we're going to get minus that same thing. And so when we get minus, well, actually we're going to get minus a negative of that, which is going to be the same thing. So we're essentially going to double this. So I think that's going to be 16. Oops. Let's keep the y to the third here. And then here it's going to be 16 thirds. Okay. So that is going to be our final answer. I hope that helps.